Here's all the cards. 6-deck blackjack. Dealer stands on all 17s. No surrender. Blackjack pays 3-2. Shoe number 3 of Stearn versus flat betting. Just like I did on shoe number 2, and unlike I did on shoe number 1, I am not going to pause after the shuffle. Well, actually, I guess I did on shoe number 2, but only because I didn't have everything else set up. I'm not going to pause and attempt to mirror the red shoe with the blue shoe, because now 2 shoes in a row, and this is a little bit of a spoiler, but of course you already watched those videos and liked them, was that I'm not going to set up the blue shoe because it hasn't been necessary. Out of 45 plus hands, to not get out of sync because of the way that you play Stearn in blackjack, where it's a deviation from basic strategy. If it's necessary, I will then at that time pause, mirror the remaining part of the red shoe with the blue shoe, come back, and proceed. So hopefully that will definitely speed things up for me on the setup side, because I won't have to do something that's unnecessary. Or if it does prove to be necessary, I won't have to do as much. Won't have to do the entire shoe. And it will speed up the gameplay, because I don't have to, like I did in the first shoe, deal from 2 separate shoes, and which is, slows things down just from a mechanical standpoint, that I have to, move my hands that much more, but also from the mental standpoint, in that it's confusing for me trying to keep track among everything else. So I think that settles that whole issue. I'm just not going to do that unless it's necessary. What else was I going to say? Oh yeah, I studied the Stearn, strategy, like the Stearn version of basic strategy. And, it really does not deviate from basic strategy very much. I'll show you the sheet at some point, and you can compare it to a regular basic strategy chart. For the most part, everything is normal up through hard 17. The only differences you're going to really start to see are in soft 17s and soft 18s, in that Stearn is much more conservative about doubling down on those hands. It also more conservative. Stearn is more conservative about doubling down 9, 10, and 11, especially when you get to the higher levels of betting in the betting progression. And same with splitting. It's pretty much the same until you get to the upper levels, where Stearn has a betting progression, which they've only published through level 9. So once you start getting up in level 6 or 7, depending if you're splitting or doubling down, you're going to perhaps not split or double down. And I guess the idea is that since you already have so much money out there, that you're down in your loss column, that you just don't want to keep putting more and more chips on the table. Of course, without putting chips on the table, it's harder to win. But that's the way this system is set up. So, and that's how we apply it. Anyway, it's an interesting system. I It's fun, at least. It's confusing. Although I think I was psyching myself out a lot, knowing that it had a variation or deviation from basic strategy. I was like, oh my god, it's going to be so different. But really, it really turns out to be not all that different. Just a few little things. I mean, you probably could still do it in using regular basic strategy. Well, certainly you could do whatever you wanted, but I think the real meat of the system is the betting progression. But then I suppose that, whoever figured this out obviously did a lot of work and decided that in addition to the betting progression, that it would work in your best interest to also modify basic strategy a little bit. And it really is just a little bit, really only about splits and double downs. Okay, so we're almost done with the shuffle here. But then, that said, of course, once you do start changing splits and double downs, you will alter the natural flow of the cards, which is why I think that the only thing to do would be to mirror the remaining part of the shoe and run the flat player on one and the Stearn player on the other. At the same time, I just had somebody leave a comment on, I think it was parolee number 7, about that I'm doing it wrong, that simulating a player cutting deck, that each system, each side, I think he called it, should get their own cards. And simulating, or actually not simulating, deck penetration is 75 to 80%. Look, we've been getting at least 45 hands per 6 deck shoe playing heads up against the dealer. We've never gotten fewer than 45, so we kind of expect that to continue. We're going to have Stearn on this side. We're going to have the flat better on this side. Each starts with a bankroll of 50 units, which you can see right there. Okay. Minimum wager is 1 unit. Maximum wager is 100 units. That's like playing a $5 table with a $500 limit. You're not going to get there with Stearn, and especially not with flat betting. Burn card. I'll show you the Stearn strategy as it gets going. It's mostly a negative progressive system with a bit of with some parlay in it, sort of like parolee. Get those right. 20 will stand to a 5. 7. 10, 20, push. Any push will repeat the wager and in the same position in the betting progression. Anyways, guy was saying that each side should get its own card. That I should give the flat better a hand and the Stearn player a hand, and I disagree with that. Ace check here is not there. 18 stands. 20. I'm going to keep Stearn's loss column over here, similar to how I've done with Fibonacci and Martingale. Just kind of help to keep track. Here's the chart for Stearn. Here's the betting progression. After losing the in position or level 1, you go to level 2, which is still a wager of 1. Once you get up to 4, it becomes 2. At 6, it becomes 4. And at level 8, it becomes 8. There is nothing documented on what to do if you get on that really bad losing streak and you get past 9. So I had to come up with my own way to deal with it. That's in shoe 2 in this series, number 2. So if you want to see that, you can look at that. Stearn, so in position 2, wagers, a single unit, Stearn parlays any win and looking to win it again, and if not, it moves, it treats it like a regular loss and continues in the progression. 18 stands to a dealer 8, 12, 19. So while I respect the fact that this guy, spoke up and made a comment about something that he thought was wrong, or wasn't comfortable with, I disagree with him on that. Okay, insurance. Neither system takes insurance, basic strategy or Stearn strategy. Insurance close. Well, that saves us from having to deal with a double down. Actually, you don't double that down anyways. So there's that. And level 4 now for Stearn wager is 2. I think that how I do it is correct because there you go, blackjack. There's the flat better pay, and for Stearn, he's gonna get back. Now he's down in his loss column. Okay, he's gonna get back 2 out of his loss column, which he will press, and he also gets back a bonus for the blackjack. But I'm not going to take that out of his loss column, just like we would do with Fibonacci. Yet that doesn't come out of his loss column. However, when we did paroley, because the next action here for Stearn is to press his winnings. He's unlike we would press that in paroley. We're not going to press that here with Stearn. Same with double downs and blackjacks. We would press them in paroley. We're not pressing them in Stearn. And the reason I did that with paroley is because paroley is a parlay, and otherwise you just end up playing a 1-2-4 system, sort of like a 1-3-2-6. So that's my reasoning. I'm going to try to stay consistent with it. So Stearn is, I'm doing this to indicate that Stearn is actually in position 4. You normally need to have them stacked up. This just helps me keep track. Because if Stearn loses from the parlayed wager in position 4, he'll go down another level in the progression to level 5. If he wins this parlayed wager in level 4, or any level that you win the parlayed wager, you've completed the cycle. Okay, just so everyone understands how that works. So 19, soft 19 stands to a 7, 15, 25. Okay, so Stearn won the parlayed wager from level 4, so he's closed that. That's the last one from his loss column, and he gets 3 more, and whatever amount he's up at this point, I'm not sure. Doesn't matter. He closed his cycle. It's obviously for a gain, and he starts over position 1, one unit wager. So anyways, I'm standing by my decision to play both systems off the same hand. Do a little ace check. It's not there. Now, basic strategy, you will double an 11 to anything but an ace. However, in Stearn, where is it? You have an 11. In levels 1 through 6, you would only double a 2 if the dealer shows a 2 to a 9. If you're in level 7, meaning you've been on a losing streak, you'd only double to a dealer 2 or 7. Actually, I think what this actually means is in levels 8 and 9, you don't double. Okay? And same here, levels 6 and 7, you split. Levels 8 and 9, you don't even split. I may have noted that wrong the other day. Anyways, so flat will double, Stearn will not. Now, if we get, obviously a face card, there's only one card to come. If it's, say, we pull out a 2 and it's a 13, Stearn would need to actually keep hitting that, and then we will have the divergence in the shoes. So, for my sake, I hope that we get like a 10 or a big card that we don't have to hit. And Stearn does not double that down. Right, okay, good. Oh, all right, that's good for me. 17. Oops. Save me the work. All right. Even in position 1, Stearn parlays this. Okay? That's how it works. Always a parlay on the first win. Okay, now for the flat better, this will be a double down, and it is also, as you can see, a double down for Stearn. Now here's another thing. If Stearn were to lose this 21, which is not going to be possible, but he could push 18, not a push. Well, anyways, if Stearn was to lose this, it starts to create this situation where Stearn could, get farther down in the sequence, win get a first win, and then parlay that and win that, and yet still to complete the cycle, yet still not complete the cycle for a gain or even break even. And this has happened, and there's nothing in the documentation for Stearn that says what to do about that, or that is something that you can expect to close a cycle for a loss. 15 stands, 12, 22. But all it says is that after the parlay, you've completed the cycle. Here we go, parlaying again. So I have to interpret that to mean that it's okay for Stearn accepts the fact, 6 hits, 14 stands, that you can close the cycle for a loss. And 18. I would guess that is it's viewed as like a controlled loss instead of just an open-ended loss, like martingale. If you don't know, which most viewers probably will by now, I do keep track of the number of hands that we run. That's the first 10. Stearn moving into level 2, despite pressing from the win in level 1, it's still just a wager of 1. Alright, I got myself distracted a little bit with all that work there. 14 hits, 16 hits again, 21, very nice. 16, 19. So Stearn gets back 1 from his loss column. He's in position 2. And he will press that. He's still down 1. Yeah, so they have to, in order to compare any two systems to each other, you have to play off the same cards. At least, that's my opinion, because I could be given the flat better, all 20s, 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 right? And the Stearn could be getting, 16s, and the dealer could be showing 9s, let's say, the whole time. And flat better's not going to hit because he's already got 20, and Stearn is going to have to hit his 16 to a 9 every time, and he's going to bust. So suddenly the flat better is going to look just awesome. He's going to win every single hand, and the Stearn is going to lose every hand. How is that a comparison? It's not. It's just, this guy's playing these cards, this guy's playing these cards. That's not a comparison. This is a comparison. Who wins more on these sequences of hands, not just any one hand. Agree, disagree? It's okay. Well, I won't pick on you too much. I didn't identify this guy by name. 12, 16, 25. So Stearn gets back the 1 from his loss column, plus 1. I think he actually closes for more than a single unit. I'm not trying to keep track of that, so you can sit around and play with chips on your own. Completing the cycle, starting a fresh cycle here. Now again, this is a departure. Basic strategy says double down a 10 to a 9. You only double down a 4 to a 7 for Stearn. Now some days this has worked out where that double ends up losing, and then so Stearn doesn't lose additional. And that's probably the idea over the whole thing. But let's just see. Okay, now we're going to have a divergence between the hands, because the 13 needs to hit to a 9. And rather than issuing that card right now, I'm going to pause and set up the other shoe, and we're going to have to do it that way. And you know, I guess Stearn's actually going to be farther down in the shoe than the flat better. So you won't notice. I'll be right back.